Scott Goes to the Movies. So last night, I saw Spider-Man Far From Home, and I gotta tell you, I pretty much loved it. So there were some things, and we'll get into those, that, I could see people who saw this movie, and as a matter of fact, somebody that went with me, what they felt, they really didn't like it. And so it's like, it kind of goes into those two things, like, what is Marvel, and do you like what they are, or do you not like it, and if you don't, you're probably not going to like this movie. So what I liked about Spider-Man Far From Home, and I'm going to address this early on, is the humor. A lot of people criticize Marvel movies because they think that they're too funny. There are too many jokes in too many places with too many characters, and those characters shouldn't be funny. A lot of people look at Thor as an example of this. They don't like Thor because Thor is very funny, and Thor shouldn't be funny. But I tend to disagree. I think in some spots, humor works. And these movies can't just be all action and dread and seriousness, because if they are, they're the DC movies, and we saw how well those got over. So I think a little bit of humor goes a long way, and I have to tell you, in Far From Home, the humor just works. A lot of the jokes land. A lot of the humor between the characters is funny. Look, Spider-Man is supposed to be funny. That's what he is. He's a lot of things, but funny is definitely one of them. So if the humor works in any of these Marvel movies, Spider-Man Far From Home is the perfect one for it. I thought that part of what was so great about Homecoming was the humor, the interactions between the characters. And we don't lose that here in Far From Home either. What's great about the high school setting, or involving characters who belong in high school or college or whatever, it works because the interactions between the characters are so genuine. And I think they nail it here. In some movies, it really feels forced, right? You really get that, this is not how teenagers talk. And in Far From Home, you know what? This is exactly how teenagers talk. The best parts of this movie are the parts where Peter Parker is engaging with other youths. That's where the movie really shines. The action is great. The story is pretty good. They do factor in a lot of Endgame, and they do factor in a lot of the finger snap, which they affectionately called the blip. There are some jokes about Peter's spider sense that are fantastic and really land. The movie's just fun. And isn't that what Marvel movies are supposed to be at the end of the day, is fun? I mean, yes, you need your deep movies like Endgame, Infinity War, but then you need your fun movies too, and this one is definitely fun. I mean, that was one of the strengths of Ant-Man and the Wasp. A lot of people didn't like Ant-Man and the Wasp, but Ant-Man and the Wasp was fun. It felt fun, and I like fun. I'm a big fun fan. Spider-Man was one of my favorite characters growing up, and I think Tom Holland nails it once again. He's by far, in my opinion, the best Peter Parker that we've seen. This is the purest Peter Parker outside of the 90s cartoon that was on Fox. This is the purest Peter Parker that we've gotten, and he's lovable and likable, and you're just rooting for the guy. One of the weaknesses of Captain Marvel was I would watch it and I didn't root for her. I didn't enjoy her. She wasn't likable. I kind of was just like, meh, she's kind of meh. And I mean, Captain Marvel, the character, is meh. But Peter really nails Spider-Man. Tom Holland really nails Spider-Man. And he nails Peter Parker. I will say that Zendaya as Mary Jane, she's a little too dark for me and a little too dreary, but that just could be the old comic book me coming up and being a little weirdo. She's probably really great in the role, and I'm just letting a lot of my comic biases block my view of this character. Once again, though, the supporting cast is fantastic. Flash Thompson, Parker's little buddy, whose name escapes me right now, they're just fantastic pieces to add to the story. So I'm about to get into spoilers, so I'm going to give you a chance to, if you haven't seen the movie, stop the movie here before I get into spoilers. Okay, let's talk about some spoilers. So one of the things that I didn't like, well, I kind of liked and I didn't like, was Mysterio. I knew, and if you'd seen it, okay, if you're familiar with the comics at all, you know how this is going to end, right? You know how it's going to to play out. Mysterio is the bad guy. And you know that. You know that. Mysterio's not a good guy. He's one of the Sinister Six. He's a bad guy. I think he's one of the Sinister Six. Boy, I just lost some nerd cred if he isn't. But he's a bad guy. So you knew the twist was kind of going to happen before it did. I mean, the moment Peter went to hand Mysterio the glasses, Edith, I just, in my head, was going, no, Peter, you big dummy. And in a way, Peter comes off as kind of a dummy. And I know that's to play into the idea that he's young and he doesn't deserve these powers. But he really does look like a dum-dum when he's fooled and he makes these choices that a kid would make. Again, it makes the character more endearing, but I could also see how some people would look at it as, why is Peter Parker such a dummy? Why is he making these poor choices? I don't understand. He's supposed to be a smart kid. So I totally get that. Mysterio's motivation, I'm a little iffy on that too. The whole idea that I want to be the next Iron Man because I wasn't respected or loved by Tony, and I got a group of cronies who used to work for Tony, and they're working behind the scenes. I liked it. Like, I thought it was hilarious to see all these like former Stark employees be the villain. I thought that was really cool and neat and kind of different. But what I didn't like about it was you just knew this dude was going to be defeated. There was never like an idea of, oh, this guy's got a great plan. Maybe he's going to fool everybody and win. No, you definitely knew that was not the case. Also, just, I don't know. I mean, a lot of him being able to pull this off and really make this believable, that was kind of hard to buy. I'm not going to lie. That being said, all of that does not hold this back from being a really fun 2 hours and 10 minutes that doesn't feel like 2 hours and 10 minutes. The whole trip to Europe was great. The whole Nick Fury stepping in and changing things was fantastic. For the trip was funny. It was just funny. It's like, oh, all of a sudden we're going to Europe. Hey, we're going to Prague. It was kind of one of those little things how sometimes movies have a way of just conveniently putting characters in the right place. And hey, at least this movie came up with a reason for why these characters were all in the right place. And I gotta tell you, I liked that a lot. Marvel continues to impress. They really do. As much as some people want to hate them, they kind of make it hard to hate them, don't they? A lot of their movies are at the very least fun, and after Endgame, this was kind of an interesting choice. That being said, it definitely sets up Peter Parker to be the next Iron Man. He's the next Tony Stark. He's the big honcho in the Avengers, minus Captain Marvel, but no one cares about Captain Marvel, so that's fine. And I'm just curious as to see where the Avengers go from here. It really left me wondering, like, where do we go? It was a nice little end cap to Endgame, a nice little fun way to spin off of it, and I really didn't hate the movie at all. So this is kind of a short video, and that's fine. It's just my instant impressions of Spider-Man Far From Home. Should you see it? I absolutely think you should. If you're a Marvel fan or a Spider-Man fan, you're going to enjoy this movie. You're going to get something out of it. You're going to have fun. And it's going to set up kind of the future in a tiny way. You're also going to get a lot of callbacks to Tony Stark, though. So I know I have one friend in particular who just was not a Tony Stark fan. And this whole movie, he was kind of going, ugh, because of all the Tony Stark love that this movie gets. So, would I recommend it? Yes. If you're a Marvel fan, should you go? Yes. What would I give it out of 10? I'm going to go with an 8 out of 10. Solid 8 out of 10. I'm only going to take away the 2 points because of Mysterio and because of the fact that I find it really hard to believe that he would be able to pull this off, would be able to get all those people together. And again, his motivations are still a little unclear. It feels like he wants to be a hero, but at the same time, he wants to stick it to Tony Stark somehow. And I'm not quite sure how this accomplishes that goal, but that's all well and good. So, solid 8 out of 10. Go see it. It's a fun movie. You'll have a good time. If you like Spider-Man, if you like movies about high school teenagers, this is the one for you. So that's my instant take on Spider-Man Far From Home. If you like this video and you want to see more, go ahead and like it. If I don't get copyright stricken, yay me! This is the first time I've used a trailer in a movie, so hopefully I did it right. If I didn't, oops, this will get taken down. I'll get a strike. Life will go on. Anyways, please don't strike me, Disney. Please like and subscribe. If you want to see more, I'll probably do more of these instant takes. Also, I got my video game stuff up. If you like that, that's awesome. Thank you. Adios.